Yeah, this is the step 3, or I think it's 3, of the intro to HTML for my tricks of 2020. And what you'll notice is we've got the setup of the page. We've just got a very, very basic page set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at how to add an image. Now, a couple of base things that you need to work with regards to your with regards to choosing images and stuff like that is, one, be aware that things can be copyrighted and so forth. So if you are getting images from out there, ideally you want to create your own and that kind of stuff using it. But also to look at the size. Like this one is 612 by 612 and it won't be that large. So it's not the end of the, that's good. You don't want to use massive images. You don't want a website to be 5 megabytes big because it will take too long to download for not much purpose. So you do want to use a smaller scale images when dealing with that. And you potentially want ones with transparent backgrounds. So you can look for PNGs, which is an image which allows transparent backgrounds, or if you just add into your search transparent background. It will then allow you so that the actual ice cream has nothing on the background of it. So you'll see here, this one's got a white background, so it actually does have a background, but you can remove it. So I'm actually going to show you how to remove it. I think that's a nice thing to know. So I'm going to save this image, and I'm going to show you how to remove it as well as part of this step. So I do think it is worth while knowing. So M2020, ice cream project, images, and we're going to say this. I'm going to actually create a second folder, and I'm going to call it raw images, just so that I can separate ones that I've edited versus the ones that I haven't, just in case I want to re-edit them later. So I'm going to call this now ice cream 1. Ice cream, whatever, it doesn't matter. And let's just show this in folder. So I just clicked on the down there, went to that. So I've got my ice cream open here. There's a software that is available called GIMP, which is Graphics Image Manipulation Program. Now, GIMP is an open source version of Photoshop. A lot of people know Photoshop, but they don't know GIMP, but GIMP is just the open source version of it. It is a pretty epic program, very powerful. It can do pretty much, well, it can do a lot of stuff. Now, what you can do on this using GIMP is this tool is a selection tool. This is a selection based on color. Now, if you're selecting based on color, it has a threshold meaning how close to the color do you want. So the higher you make this, if I selected green, it'll be any sort of kind of green. If you make it higher, if you make it lower, it'll only be a specific kind of green. So how specific do you want it to be color? In this case, it is just white, so it doesn't really matter. We can leave that as the default. Sorry guys, you can talk, but please try to talk quietly. You are working on your own stuff, a lot of you, but talk a bit softer so I don't get distracted by it, please. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to select everything within the color. Now you can see it also removed a bit of the glass here, so I might want to actually make this threshold a bit lower even, just so it won't remove the glass. Let's try that again. Yeah, that's a bit better. So now I didn't select that little bit of glass. So you can see that was a nice demonstration of what the threshold meant. So now what I can do, now that I've selected everything except the ice cream, I can right click and I can go selection invert, which means now instead of selecting the white area, I'm selecting just the ice cream area. So I've inverted what was selected. I can now float this, and now when I float this, it becomes a new layer. Your layers are managed on the right hand side, and when you're photo editing, it's an important concept to understand your layers. Now realize nothing in IT will examine you on your photo editing. It's yeah, doesn't matter. By the way, my curtain's going a bit funny like that because I did play around with setting try to set my background to be completely transparent, and I was playing around with blue. If you're looking on the video at the moment. And I just haven't removed the setting properly. Anyway, if I now go to new layer, it means that I'm going to physically create it as a layer. You can also name your layer, so I could say this is the ice cream layer, that's the background, but quite frankly, whatever. In this case scenario, and then if I delete this one, delete the background layer, I now just have my ice cream. Technically, this area here, maybe I would have wanted to be blank, but let's just leave it as being white on there. So file. Now when I save it, I'm saving it as a ice cream project file, which means when I open it again, it will have the layers, it will have all the settings as a GIMP file project. But I don't want that. I want it to be saved as actually an image, so I'm going to export it. So I'm going to export it as a physical image. And that will open up the options here. Now, JPEG is an image type that is used for photos, those kind of things. I'm sure a lot of you have used JPEG before, but it does not contain transparent colors. So what you need to do is you need to change it to PNG, and when you change it to PNG, if I go down here to select file types, I can do it that way, but quite frankly, PNG, I know it's PNG, I want that. Now I'm going to put that into my images file, and I'm going to call it ice cream.png. Now when I export it, it's going to come up with options. Do you want to save in background color? It'll come up with a whole bunch of different stuff there. Usually the default options are sufficient, and you can just go export. You can look into it more if you want to know what each of those individual items mean there. So now on my ice cream website, under my images, you'll see I'll have an ice cream.jpg, .png there. Now I'm going to go over how to add it a bit more complicated before, because I want you to understand each component of it, but then I want to show you an easy way to do it. So bear with me with this. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to refer to your image tag. Now you'll see there it comes up with different attributes that I can use with my image tag, and one of the ones that we're going to use is the source, meaning where do I get the source of the image from. Now Control Spacebar is your friend, so if I press Control Spacebar and I go to images, Control Spacebar, I go to ice cream, sweet, we've got it. Now another thing that I expect you all to add is an alt. Now I know you guys might not ever do this, and I'm just going to put / close. The reason why I use that as a convention, like here with the link I use / close, is because you'll see H1 has an open tag and an end tag. My link doesn't need an end tag, so it's an open and an end. It's a self-containing tag. So on self-containing tags like image, I don't have an open image, close image tag, because there's nothing in between. It is an image. I just close it directly at the end there. It's convention. It will work even if you don't do that, but it's just good indication, and it's good programming practices to add it there. Now an alternative is an alternative image. In other words, if you're choosing not to download images, so you just want the fast download so you can get all the text information on there, which you can choose. This is what text will be displayed instead of the image. And also when you drag your mouse over the image, it's what will display or pop up there. If you're not, so now in the alternative here, I'm going to say ice cream picture, whatever you want. Put something logical to what is going on there as your alternative. In a test situation, I will deduct marks if you do not have an alternative to your image. So now when I save that and I open up my ice cream picture, which is my ice cream website and my index, you'll see there, bam, there's my ice cream. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is going to be how to create a class. Because now in my style sheet I might have a second image that I want to manipulate or anything like that. So in my style sheet, remember, this is where I set up stuff. But now I want this image to be a specific size or anything like that. I'm going to say this class equals logo. So this is going to be my logo image. And you will see that I've got videos available on YouTube on how to create logos, how to add, like in your GIMP you can add textures, you can have like my image, my ice cream company or whatever. So I'll just go to my text option, I'll add that there. I can add some other graphics you can play around with. There's a whole bunch of different effects under, I think it's under layer or tools or filters actually, where you can make like an artistic. So let's just say artistic, let's go cartoon for example. It'll come up with an option of you allowing to how far you want it to be cartooned, and then you'll see now it becomes more cartoonified ice cream, that kind of stuff. So you guys can play around with how you want to set that up and how you want to do that, but it will allow you to create your ice cream as however you want, and your logo, and you can add text. So you play around with that if you want to create a logo for your website. I'm not going to specifically do that now. You guys can work on that in your own time. Now images I've added and one, but now we want to use a class, and I've said class logo. Now why did I do that? Now the reason why I did that is because in my style sheet I can now refer to anything with the dot logo. Now the dot means I'm referring to a class and logo. So anything with the class of logo will take on these properties. And in this case I wanted to have a width of 100 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. Now I know I'm typing quickly here, but if you go Control Spacebar and you start typing in, it comes up with options of what you can do. So, and as I said, in your guys' shared drive, you'll see that there's a CSS in a nutshell and also HTML in a nutshell, which goes through a whole bunch of different tags you can use, and W3 schools. There's a lot of different stuff there as well. So, but this is just the basics to get you guys on the basic platform. You can then go and explore whatever you want. Alright, and exploring is key. A lot of the stuff I know I taught myself from exploring. It's a nice way to learn, and also things are totally updating. So what I'm teaching you now, it's changed already. Look online, figure it out. Yeah, there's stuff that changes and updates and whatever. I'm just teaching you the basics. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is we're now going to be working with our layout options. Now, I like working when you have a system. Now, W3 Schools does explain this well, so I'm actually going to show you it on there, just to refer to it from there, and then I will go into it on the coding and how to get it working. But let's first test if our size thingy works. So if F5 this, you'll see it becomes 100 by 100 is now our logo. Now we want to set out a proper layout and a proper structure there. We've got 13 minutes left, so it should be more than enough time. So let's go to W3 Schools just to show you what the links.com. Now, in HTML5, they talk about semantic tags. Now, w3.css, colors, bootstrap icons, how to JavaScript, sides, web, XML. Okay, just go to learn HTML, semantic tags, semantic HTML5. Here we go. HTML5. Now, not what I'm looking for, not what I'm looking for, not what I'm looking for. New element semantics. Here we go. Alright. So now semantics has a lot to do with what your layouts work and how you'll set it out. Now this picture here gives you a nice indication of an example of how you would want to set out a page. So you have a header section, you have a navigation section, you have a section, you have an article section, you have a side section and a footer section. Now we're going to combine this with our CSS. So and I kind of like this layout. Let's try to duplicate exactly what the layout is here, and we'll work with how they've got this working. So now I'm going to start by creating my header section. So if I go to my NetBeans, we're going to start off by just saying header. Oh, okay, but I always like to close my tag immediately as I open it. So I have a header section, I have a nav section, I have a article section, sorry, section. I then have a side section, please do yourself a favor, close your tags as soon as you open them. I can't reiterate that enough. It is a good idea. That's one of the most common mistakes made, is that they don't close the tags when they open them. Okay, we then have an article, close article, and we then have a footer. Okay, so we've got our sections there. Our ice cream heading we want in our top. Oops, sorry. We want our ice cream heading in our header section. We'll get into the nav section later, and we would want our logo as well there actually next to it. So we'll go to our header. We'll first have our title on the image. Now, when I save this, you'll notice that when I go to view my page, so if I go back to here, F5, it doesn't look much different. It's just got the picture, an ice cream header. There's nothing else there. And the reason why is we haven't configured our semantic tags. Now realize your semantic tags have more than just one function. They're not just there for layouts or to group things together. They're also there so that the computer knows what kind of data is here. And also your advanced search engines or your Google and whatnot, they can pick out items on there. So for example, if I created a definition semantic tag, I can't remember if it's definition, please don't quote me on that, and I had above that, I could actually have a structure which would give a definition for something, and then it would search for that. So I don't remember what it is offhand, but tags can represent stuff in search engines to optimize your search engines on there, as well as meta tags. But we'll get into meta tags, Google it if you want to, and how to optimize web pages for search engines. You can add extra meta tags there on keywords and on descriptions and stuff. Right. The next thing that we got here is our so we've got our ice cream and our page, but we need to make our navigation stand out. The best way, and what commonly they do now, is they use so we're going to work in here, and we're going to work with our header. So header, we're going to work with our aside, we're going to work with our section, we're going to work with our article, and we're going to work with our footer. Now, first you're going to have a plan over what you're wanting to do. So in this scenario that we're trying to get like this, our top one, our header, is approximately, it's the full width, and it's approximately 10%, 15% of the page of the width. So let's just start off by setting up a header. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give my header a background color, and I want to set the background color to be, while I'm doing this I might as well show you this as well, sidetrack slightly. If I want it to be this light pink here, what I can do is go to the color picker over here, and I can it'll open up this dialog box here. I then choose to this notation. I can then choose a color. Hello. Why is it not allowing me to do that? Okay, this color picker should allow me to pick a color from something I've got. It's not allowing me that right now, and I think it's because I'm on the A dialog box. Color picker, there it is, sorry. Okay, so color picker here, and you choose the pink here, and then it'll come up with a pink here, and then if I select this HTML notation, I can put that as my color in my NetBeans, semicolon. I do like putting a hashtag in front of it. It's not, I don't think it's compulsory, but the hashtag just indicates that it's the decimal, sorry, a hexadecimal code, which we'll get into at a later stage, of the background color. So I made the background color that I want the width of it to be 100% or 100 view width, meaning the view panes, the full width of the view pane. So the view pane is the window inside it. I want the full width of that, and then I want height to be 10 view height, semicolon. Now you can also stipulate that the position is absolute, and that the X, I think it's X, I can't remember, this is something very important, I should actually know this before I start using this. Position, maybe, position, no, left, maybe left, yep, left is 0, and right is 0. Sorry, his top is 0. So that means I'm positioning it 0 pixels from the left and 0 pixels from the right of the screen. And it's a width of 100% width and 10 VH. Now when I go into that, I now go to view my page, I press F5, and there you can see 10% along the top of the screen is my pink, the color that I chose, with the ice cream image there and the ice cream over there. I'm quite happy with that. I actually kind of like the fact that the image goes a bit over the bottom, but it might not be exactly what you guys want. What if we wanted them next to each other? There's a couple of ways you could achieve that. Is one, you could actually literally just put the image inside the a heading 1 tag. So for example, this might solve the problem as well. So I'll go like that. It will put it next to each other, but it didn't align it to the top and that kind of stuff. So let's just do a couple of items on there. So instead of doing that, I will fix this problem later. I'm not going to fix this now because I first want to go through the semantic tags, and then I'll go through how to lay out the objects inside the semantic tags better. So to get the overall layout, so I'm going to leave it the way it was for now, and we'll deal with that problem later. Now, our navigation tag, we also want it to be a bit lower than it, so we wanted to set up our navigation underneath this tag here, and we might want it to be a different color. So we put our nav pan, and our navigation panel will deal with a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's also 100 width, and it's below the header. So what we can do is we can say in our style sheet, we want our, and believe me when I say this, it can get frustrating because it is quite tricky to get your layouts working 100%. And that's why often people use WYSIWYG editors happening this. But first, I want an absolute, position to be absolute. And remember, everything I'm teaching you, people doing research into new things, HTML, code languages, developing and so forth. So there's other ways of doing it. So please, as long as you use decent structure techniques and you use your style sheet and you use your HTML, I'm happy. Position absolute, and we're going to say the height is going to be 10 view H, so as well as the same height. Width is going to be 100 view width, and I'm going to now set my top to be 10 VH. So in other words, it should start exactly where this one ends, according to logic, but it doesn't always work like that. And then the left should also be 0 px. And now we also just want to set up the background color to be a hexadecimal code. I'm going to choose this one to maybe be the green ice cream. So we go to that, we select the code, copy, okay, so that remembers this little color picker over here. We then go back to NetBeans, we say hash because it's a color code. That, I don't know if it will actually work without the hash, I think it might not. And now we go back to our, did I save everything? Make sure you save it, because it's a very common mistake is you go there and you think, oh, why is it not working, why is it not working? It's because you haven't saved your thing. So there we go, we've now got our nav tag underneath it. Now realize our context is now getting messed up, and don't worry about that, we'll sort that out later. So I've got a nav tag there. Just to update it a bit, I'm going to change this to 15, which means this must also only start at 15. I'll then look at getting the data in there a bit better later. I'm even thinking of checking out the data for now, because it might be a bit distracting to what we're wanting to do. I got it the wrong way around, I want my header to be 15. Yeah, let's redo this. Okay, so if I go back here, I want my height of this to be 15 VW, I want my height of this navigation to only be 0, and I want it to start at the top at position 15. That's what I wanted. And I even maybe want this only to be height of 7. So if we go back to our view now, that looks a bit better. So now we've got our header at the top there, and we've got our navigation pane at the bottom. We now want to work with our section heading, so this is going to contain our section stuff, and then we can work with our site, then we can work with the article. Again, this I would say is probably about, this is already taken up now 17%. I would say I'd make this 23%, which would make it about halfway down the page. Yeah, so let's make it 23% height and so forth. So now we're working with our, and please realize you can go ahead of me here, it's not a problem. So our section is our next one we want to work, and we want to make the position absolute. We want to set the width to be about 70% of the page, so view width, and we want to set the height to be about 23% of the view height, maybe 33 actually. That's 27. So 33, 55. Yeah, let's try 33. We can mess around with that though later. And we'll then want a our top to be after all these. So if we plus, we've got our header, which is 15, and we then got 7, so that's 22. So if we want this, 33 is fine, and we'll do our top. So we've got 22, so this must be 22 view height. We would want our left also to be 0 pixels. Oh yeah, and then we'll work from there. This is the end of step 2. I will complete this. I'll follow through the exact same steps, but I'll show you on the next video on this. In the next video we'll go through how to put the content in and to manipulate that a bit. Just where I am now, I would have to change the color of this and make it look there, but I'm changing my width and I'm changing my positions based on what's happening there, and work with the color. In the next video I'll briefly go through what's going on there. Sweet.